Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It's March 22nd, 2022.
And
Start with
roll call.
Let's start with roll call. Jaina Akawi,
Present.
Paris Baldwin. Paris Baldwin. Thomas Bassett.
Here.
Niemi Crenshaw. Niemi Crenshaw. Kirtana Dhanasekaran. Kirtana Dhanasekaran. Ariana Dorsch.
Here.
Shakari Fleming Brown. Shakari Fleming Brown. That's me, Francisco Hernandez. Kavaya Kashav. Kavaya Kashav.
Here.
Kavia.
Oh, sorry, Kavia. Gabrielle Langston. Gabrielle Langston. Hannah McNichol.
Here. Good afternoon, everybody.
Muni Mahmood. Muni Mahmood.
Did we lose?
Madison.
Are you there,
I thought I saw her.
Francisco?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear me? What did I cut out of?
Zion, we didn't hear you say Zion.
Okay, I'm sorry. Zion McCann. Zion McCann. Okay, Madison McDonald.
Here.
Celia Payton. Celia Payton. Riley Rudolph. Riley Rudolph. De'Ara Searles. De'Ara Searles. McKenna Taranjo. McKenna Taranjo. And Jaden Walton. Jaden Walton. I believe that's everybody. Everybody that was present.
I don't believe that was a quorum.
No, I was about to say, for the record, Commissioner Baker McCormick, we do not have a quorum, so we won't be able to pass the minutes or take any votes on any items if we don't have a quorum.
Okay.
All right. Nairobi, is this the current list of all of the members on this agenda? Nairobi, is she not on? We can't hear you, Nairobi.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was asking, was this the current list of all of the Wayne County Commission Youth Council members? The
No,
updated list?
No, I actually took Naima Crenshaw off this list, and that should be the updated. I think the rest of these names are. Oh, and
good.
Paris Baldwin. I took those off, so I don't know why those two are still here.
Okay. So I'm not sure what the number is because we, anyone that didn't attend so many meetings, we had to remove them. So they're no longer part of the count.
Yeah, the total number of members is 12, 13, 14. It's just 16.
Okay, and then we had how many present of that number?
Actually, we're gonna take off Riley Rudolph. I haven't seen her in about 3 meetings, so it's gonna be 15 now. I also have no contacts for her.
Okay, and Gabrielle was supposed to be, because you never heard back from her, is that correct?
Yeah, actually, I have to call those numbers that you gave me today.
Okay, so she's still in as far as, okay.
For the
As
record,
today.
Commissioner Baker McCormick, Zion McCann did just join the meeting, so we do have 8 members. So we might have a quorum. If I'm understanding correctly, that there are a couple names that shouldn't be on this list.
Exactly. So I think we have a firm, is it 15 members or 16?
15.
Is 16?
It's 15.
Oh, 15. Okay.
And
So
De'Ara will be joining at 6:30. So that I know that's a confirmed 9 that are going to be present so far. I can double check the rest.
okay. All right. Let's just see how the rest of the evening goes. It looks like we may have a quorum. Okay. All right.
Good. We're gonna go.
Yes. Ready to move forward.
Okay. I have to make a motion to pass the minutes from the last meeting, correct?
Well, let's do the invocation
Okay.
because that should have been done first, but go ahead with that, Francisco.
Okay. So everybody just bow their heads or whatever you would like to do. Lord God, we thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We thank you for the ability to talk, to speak, to walk. We thank you for the ability to be in a position where as a young person, we can have our voice heard. Please give us the strength and the knowledge and the courage and the patience to lead, to be leaders every day and everywhere, whether it's in our families, as sons and daughters, as students, as brothers and sisters, as inspirations, and as role models. Please let us continue to lead the way and be with us always. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Beautiful. With that moves us to point C, approval of the minutes from the February 27th, 2022 meeting. Do we have to make a motion, right? Does somebody else have to make a motion?
Yes, and Commissioner Baker McCormick, I just want to point out in the chat, Madison McDonnell has noted that the minutes incorrectly reflected the attendance. It said that she was absent when she wasn't. So if someone wants to make a motion to pass the minutes as amended so we can make that change before we post them, we can do that.
I would like to make that motion. I'd like to make a motion of the amended minutes from the February 27th, 2022 meeting. That includes.
Francisco, it needs to be someone else other than you because you're leading the meeting today.
Gotcha.
You're chairing.
I can approve it if needed.
Can you just make the motion, please?
So just I make a motion to approve the meeting or the minutes of the last meeting.
Yes, as amended.
As amended. So is that good?
That's good. And then we just need support.
I, Madison McDonnell, support.
I, Zion McCann, support.
Okay, just.
The movement is passed. So the movement has been passed. On to point B.
Ask all those in favor.
Oh, all those in favor, say aye.
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 All those
Any
opposed?
opposed?
Aye.
Mhm.
Any opposed? The minutes have been approved, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that moves us to point D, old business.
So, Francisco, we wanted to move to new business so that we can let our guests, Verizon, have the floor. So if you can move to that item, please. Okay, did we lose you again?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
So I could just start at point 3E, right? New business, you said?
Right, with Verizon, yes.
Oh, okay, so point 3E, was that E1? I'm sorry. How does that work?
Yep.
Or is that just point?
You're fine. You could
That's
just say
0.1, right?
Verizon. Yeah.
Okay. To Verizon 5G virtual tour. So I just, if I could let them take the floor.
Yes.
All right.
Hi, this is Nia Mathis. I think maybe I do the intro before we.
Yes.
Is
Yeah,
that
Can we
correct?
switch over to Nia? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And let
thank
me,
you, Nia.
is it Nia? Okay. Let me
Yeah.
introduce you, Nia. They did send me your bio. Okay.
Sure. Okay,
And sorry about the miscommunication here, and this is all new to most of the members, and then we don't have our regular chair at this meeting, so it's a little different. Okay.
No worries. It's all good. Thank you.
All right. Is it Naya or Naya, right?
It's Nia.
Oh,
Nia.
Nia. Okay.
Yes.
Nia. Miss Nia Mathis she is the Regional Vice President, State and Local Government Affairs at Verizon. In this role, Nia shapes public policy in 22 states across the Central, Midwest, and New England in support of Verizon's objective. Nia leads a team of lobbyists and community engagement directors in advancing the corporation's interests through state and local government advocacy, as well as through grassroots local community engagement in Boston, Chicago, Denver, Minneapolis, St. Louis, and Providence, and other cities across the region. During her career at Verizon, Nia has held several legal roles supporting business units across the enterprise. She counsels Verizon's network organizations on the deployment of 5G technology and enforce government's Verizon's rights under federal, state, and local laws. Prior to joining Verizon in 2008, Nia was an associate at the DC office and graduated from Catholic University of America in Washington, DC, and completed her undergrad studies at the University of Florida. Nia is married to her high school sweetheart. They reside in Chicago, Southland suburbs, where with their 5 children. She is active in her faith-based organizations and is passionate about fostering cultural change and taking courageous actions to evolve community and society. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. So good evening, everyone. As we just heard from Commissioner Baker McCormick, I am Nia Mathis, Vice President of State Government Affairs at Verizon. So thank you for inviting me to join you for this exciting virtual tour of Verizon's Innovation Center in San Francisco. Commissioner Baker McCormick, thank you for the warm welcome and for working with the team at Verizon to make today's event possible. So your work to introduce young people to civic involvement and making that engagement interesting and fun has been such an asset to Wayne County. And I applaud your commitment to our future leaders. So thank you for that. I am so pleased that we are able to partner with Wayne County Commission Youth Council and our friends in California to convene today's event. Students, the work you all are doing as you volunteer on the Youth Council is not only making a positive difference in your communities, but you individually are developing the knowledge, values, and motivation that will serve you well as future leaders. The service you're giving to your fellow youth amplifies their voices, to ensure that your elected officials represent your interests. Your voice is a powerful tool, and I'm proud to know that all of you are doing what you all are doing as I've learned about your leadership and your service. So as you know, technology is transforming our local communities and really our world. Technology is creating jobs, leading to medical advances, keeping us safe, and continually redefining how we communicate with the rest of the world. At Verizon, innovation is at the core of who we are. And our technology and innovation centers work closely with entrepreneurs and inventors. We are committed to bridging the digital divide through our Verizon Innovative Learning Schools programs, and there's so much more that we do that's wrapped around technology. We're super excited at Verizon about the future with 5G. The ultra fast speeds and the ultra low latency of Verizon's 5G is inspiring and enabling new technology. The people who are working on these exciting new projects are developing ideas for products and solutions that don't even exist yet. And shortly, you'll have the opportunity to meet just a few of them. Verizon is committed to preparing today's workers and future workers for jobs of tomorrow. We foster an inclusive environment for all employees, and we're focused on building a workforce that's as diverse as the communities we serve. So I became a lawyer at Verizon 14 years ago after I worked in law firms in Washington, D.C. for about 8 years. I didn't start out wanting to be a lawyer. I didn't have any lawyers in my family. I actually wanted to own broadcast stations, TV, radio stations, and a college professor suggested law school might be a path to ownership. So your life may have many twists and turns along the way. You may change your mind about what you ultimately want to do, and you may pick a new path, and that's okay. I'm so glad with the path my career has taken. I've had a number of fantastic roles practicing law in many areas at Verizon. And now I lead Verizon's state government affairs and community engagement for the Midwest region. That means I lead a team of people that work with state and local governments to support laws that are good for business and society and to oppose laws that are not good for business and society. So we work closely with governors, we work closely with state legislatures, with mayors, with city council people to talk about and advocate for the type of policies that allow our business to grow and at the same time are good for society. And in this role, we also work closely with organizations in our community to teach and to provide opportunities for people to learn about technology, just like we're doing here today. My career at Verizon has afforded me the opportunity to raise a beautiful family, my husband and I with 5 children, and time to give back to my community at large and to my faith community. So it's all about believing in yourself, not giving up. It's about staying flexible when new opportunities come your way, and know that no matter how things may feel, sometimes you are capable of achieving. Surround yourself to the best you can. I know you've heard this advice, but it's really, really true. Surround yourself to the best you can with people who believe in you, people who support you in learning and in growing in your life and in all the things that you do. So thank you all again for joining us for today's exciting event. Now I would like to introduce Dan Setterby, who is in Verizon's San Francisco Innovation Center, and we will begin with some background on the center and Verizon technology. Dan?
Yeah, thanks, Nia. How's it going, everybody? My name is Dan Setterby, and I lead the engineering, consulting, and applied research teams here at the Verizon Innovation Center and 5G Labs here in San Francisco, California. Now, I'm going to make a quick assumption and guess that none of you guys have had the chance to visit one of our innovation centers. So I'll give you a little bit of a background, sort of about what we do here on a day-to-day basis, some of the projects that we're working on, and then I'll give you a quick overview of my career path and how I got to this, what I think is an amazing place to be. So the Verizon Innovation Program started all the way back in 2010 as a place for developers to build mobile applications that would go on the Google Marketplace, Apple App Store. Verizon actually had its own app store at the time, but it quickly folded. And right around that time was when Verizon and a worldwide consortium of telecommunications partners we're trying to push a new global standard for connectivity called 4G LTE. Now, us, China Mobile, Vodafone at the time, were really focused on making sure that the world adopted this technology so that we could enable a lot of the things that we take for granted today. Now, our part in that was to open 2 innovation centers, one here in San Francisco and one in Waltham, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston, because those were areas that we identified as being hubs of innovation, a lot of academia and a lot of industry in that area that could help feed into our greater ecosystem. And our first effort in 4G LTE was to enable a hardware ecosystem. So these centers were stood up to offer developers and companies, big and small, a test bed to bring their product ideas. We'd help them with pre-certification testing, getting them on the network. And in some cases, if that product filled a gap in the Verizon portfolio, we'd even offer go-to-market support. In some cases, even quota Verizon sales reps with selling those products and services. Now that effort was pretty successful. After the first 3 years of the launch of the 4G LTE network, about 70% of the devices, non-traditional devices, that is, so not phones or tablets or MiFis, that rode on the Verizon network actually came about as a result of some of the partnerships in our executive briefings that we host here, or some of the business development work that we'd done within the labs. Now that was, gosh, I don't even want to say it, but almost 10 years ago. And a lot's changed since then. And we've gone through a lot of changes as an organization. We acquired AOL and Yahoo and spent a brief stint as a media company, sold off those assets. And here we are again at the launch of a new world-changing technology, 5G. And now 5G to us, it's not just faster speeds, lower latency, but it also opens up a whole new world of possibilities when it comes to access and compute. Now, one of the things that we can show you as we go through is some of the work that we're doing to kickstart the developer ecosystem. So one of the things that we're doing here within the innovation program is hosting hackathons and developer immersion days. These are all free to the public, and we'll post up in the chat a link to the next ones if you'd like to join. But just kind of rewind a little bit, I'll give you guys kind of a peek into sort of what we do here at the Innovation Center. So the Innovation Center, we sit within the technology, product development, and strategy organization within Verizon. But that puts us in a unique position to work horizontally across the entire company, where we support the initiatives of sales, product development, public policy in any way that we see we could have an impact. So from a product development standpoint, when companies are looking to build applications that will ride on a new mobile edge compute or MEC, a lot of that testing and validation takes place here. We also host in-person events for digital transformation. So when a large bank or a large retailer wants to change the way that we do business, oftentimes they'll come in here for a 1 to 2 day engagement. We bring in subject matter experts from cybersecurity, from network, from marketing. We put together a full vignette of how we can take their company from the way that they're doing business today to the way they want to do business in the future. Here in the Innovation Center, we have a 50,000 square foot place with about 62 different product demonstrations that represent everything within the Verizon ecosystem, as well as our external partners. And really, this is a place that we bring decision makers from these large companies, and we take them on a journey to show them exactly how these different technology touch points can integrate into an end-to-end journey. And that's what Jordan's going to be sharing with you here at the end. And a little bit about me. A lot of you might be wondering, how do you end up in an innovation center? Well, it didn't happen overnight, and there's a lot of twists and turns on the way to getting here. So I came here when I was 3 years old. My family is from Sweden and Hungary. So first generation immigrant. My dad actually works as a janitor at Huntington Beach High School. My mom worked with special education. And the reason why I bring that up is growing up, I didn't have a lot of exposure to what types of jobs were out there. I used to skateboard around industrial parks. I'd see high-rise buildings and people flowing in and out of these high-rises. But to me, that was all just business people doing business stuff. And it wasn't until, I have to say, about my 5th year of community college, I was putting myself through school at the time, that I really started to act upon my curiosity and proactively ask people questions about what they do and how they got there. And I think it's acting on that curiosity that has been a central theme in my overall career success. So originally, I had no interest in going into technology and running an innovation lab. I went through college actually working on getting a psychology degree and becoming a psychiatrist. And I realized that towards the end of my undergraduate degree that the amount of debt that I would have to incur to follow with what I thought at that point was my passion was a little bit overwhelming. And I simply couldn't afford to be a student for much longer. So I started to explore other paths. what are other things that I can do that would be able to leverage my natural curiosity, my need to solve problems, and create a lifestyle that I'm able to, support myself and hopefully a future family. So I mentioned earlier, I was working at a bike shop through college, and I remember reaching out to some of my older customers, people that were spending, $8,000-$10,000 on a bike, and asking them, hey, what do you do for a living? And I'd say at that point, I decided that I wanted to go into either technology sales or medical device sales. Out of college, I got a job at a company called ADP, automatic data processing, worked there for about 2 years, and then moved on to a company called Iron Mountain, where we were doing records and information management. And that's when it first started being exposed to subject matter experts that we would bring in to help close some of these larger deals. And it really opened my eyes to the fact that you can have a job by simply knowing a little bit more than somebody in a specific subject matter area. Long story short, I moved on to another company, Verizon. I actually started here as an enterprise sales rep. I was the guy that would go door to door to mid-sized companies and honestly try to sell cell phones. And I was getting pretty bored with that position because it didn't really stretch my mind a lot. And luckily for me, that was right around the same time where a new technology was starting to embark called machine to machine. So this is any time where a machine is talking to another machine without human intervention. So think about solar inverters, self-driving cars, toasters that'll tell you when the little trap needs to be fixed. And I started working with a company that was doing building management control for HVAC and heating systems. And at the time, they had a large big box retail customer that wouldn't let them put their application behind the firewall. And I had the thought, why don't we put a wireless modem on there? And that turned into my first machine-to-machine deal. I started to look a little bit into the future and analyze trends and positioning myself in a way that I wanted to be an expert in that field. So I started taking free online classes within Verizon, and I started reaching out to people within the company to try to grow my vision of the company and also to try to set goals. After that, I went into global enterprise sales in the high-tech vertical. And then right around that time, there was a new team opening up called the Verizon Partner Program. And they were looking for 10 people to start a new business unit where we would find companies that had a product or service that would benefit from riding on our network and create a business case for that. So I jumped into that role, did that for about 1.5 years. And during that time, there was an innovation center upstairs on the 8th and 9th floor. I was down on the 5th floor. And I started talking to them. A lot of times, a lot of the projects that were coming out of the innovation center needed a business contract to write on. And I was the person that came in and started writing all of those contracts. And then I was also exposed to some of the executive briefings that were happening upstairs. Now, these briefings, a lot of times there might be a scenario where the speaker about 4G or private network or whatever the subject matter was, either missed their flight, wasn't able to make it. So I started volunteering to do speaking engagements outside of my core job. Now, that was a pretty smart move because when the former manager of the innovation program moved on, I had positioned myself in a way where I was a natural fit. I was one of 4 candidates to get moved on to the final round. And 6 years later, I've been now at the innovation program for about 6 years. And I'd say that the most interesting part about this job is that you have the ability to surround yourself with people who are experts in their field. One of the things that I think is, a point of pride is every time that I go into a room and we're working to solve problems, I'm working with people that know more about what they know about than anybody else in the world. And oftentimes just being exposed to that innovation is highly motivating. But from a advice perspective, I think that, the one thing that I'd like to pass on is act on your curiosity. One of the things that's held me back early on was not being proactive in reaching out to people, not asking questions, feeling like I'd bug people. But one thing that you'll realize is, most people like to talk about what they do. Most people like to talk about themselves. And most people like to help people. And if they don't, just move on. So without further ado, I'm going to hand this over to one of our senior engineers here at the innovation program, Venki Konanor. Even engineers forget to mute.
The double unmuting. Okay, so sorry for that. So hello, everybody. Welcome to the Verizon Innovation Center, albeit virtually. Hopefully in the future, we'll have you all in person to this space so that you can get to see all the cool technology we have here and all the toys we get to play around with. So as Dan mentioned, the Innovation Center is actually a crucible for, as the name suggests, for different ideas to come together and people from different backgrounds, either it be from different industries, different skill sets to come together. And that's the process of innovation, right? So more people come in, look at the problem from different angles and help provide the solution. So I am an engineer here at the Innovation Center. I came from a traditional engineering background. And as you know, like as Dan mentioned, like there are many paths to take to come and work in the area of technology. Don't feel that because you've taken a different field that you're pigeonholed to be there. Like if you're always interested in technology, interested in networks, innovation, computer science, there's always room to come in, and the industry itself seeks people from different backgrounds so that, as I mentioned about the problem solving process, sometimes, if you're looking at a problem from one single lens, you might not be able to see it and or find a solution for it. It's important to have people from different backgrounds come in and provide perspectives from different angles so that we can actually build new products and new things that create the next big thing, right? So I took a very traditional path. However, like my path to Verizon was a little bit non-traditional, I would say. We have all been there. I think I'm sure many of you probably have started experiencing it or will start applying for jobs going ahead in the future. But the thing is, you go to a website, you upload your resume, you even upload your cover letter and press submit, and then you just get an email notification saying that they've received your application, and then that's it, right? You don't hear much or you don't know much. Essentially, everything goes into like an automated computer system, and then that's it. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes. And from the other side of the perspective, like a recruiter, when they file for an online application, right, they post their job, they get about thousands of requests. Like, a basic job application in anything in technology has over like 500 applications, I believe. So the recruiter on their end is able to be looking to sift through like all these like hundreds of applications and think about how do you stand out, or what makes you kind of understand like how that market works, right? So even when you get like a rejection email, which is an automated response, quote unquote, a lot of times it's because like many of the recruiters might not be able to go through all of the applications they got through, right? There's so many moving parts in play. So one of the things that I guess I chanced upon is the networking opportunities, primarily like going to conferences and then finding people, attending talks. So in my previous role, like when I was in Boston, I was a consultant, and I went to like a conference that Verizon 5G Labs and Innovation Center person was presenting on, right? They were talking about the vision of 5G and what 5G can accomplish in automation and robotics. Particularly, I'll come to that right now with one of the demos that I have here. So, he was bringing up all these great points, and I was very curious. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know Verizon. Like before that, I thought it was like a cell phone company, right? Like you provided like mobile networks. Okay, get a Verizon plan or an AT&T plan, right? We was thinking about it from that perspective, but didn't really quite understand like how Verizon 5G stood out in the way that it provides ultra wideband capacity, right? So you get about like 4 gigabits download speeds wirelessly. That's unprecedented in previously. So a lot of these advantages this person was showing and educating me about the technology. That prompted me to connect with that person on LinkedIn, and then so on, connect with other people that he was connected to on LinkedIn. That's part of this team. So eventually, I ended up reaching out to the person who was my predecessor, right? The person who had my job before me in this current company, in this current role. I ended up reaching out to her and then expressing interest and saying that, hey, look, I really like what Verizon does, and I want to learn more, right? Just a simple reach out. And I did that as part of my general curriculum as well, just general day-to-day task, and is being on LinkedIn. And I'm sure like many of you, while you get to age, like you'll set up a LinkedIn account and come to the world of professional networking, where like you'll see people from different backgrounds. Everybody's on that central platform where you can share your stories, like your career pathways and job postings, so on and so forth. So personally, I took it upon myself to look at the job market and see what types of people were doing what types of jobs. Because coming from a traditional engineering background, I was mostly relegated to the desk, right? Like I sit in front of a computer and I can stay there for 10 hours solving one single problem. That was my core skill set. But then we have to come out and see like, okay, what type of roles can an engineer do? Because I feel like in addition to coding and in addition to the few fundamental things, I had like other additional parts in my skill set. So I wanted to explore that. So I used LinkedIn for that. I ended up like looking up profiles of people, right? And generally very interesting people that I would either see in a YouTube video, give a speech in a TED conference, right? In a TED talk, Or actually, if I attended a physical conference, like physically, then I would connect with that person on LinkedIn and then try to understand like what was their background, like what was their career path, right? You could see all of that in LinkedIn. So that was prompted me. I would proactively reach out to multiple people. And as Dan mentioned, right, sometimes people will respond back to you, sometimes they don't, which is quite understandable. Like, I'm sure they lead busy lives, and they might be going through other stuff in their life day to day. So, but nonetheless, I think the act of reaching out to strangers or interesting people that you find their career path interesting I think is very helpful in understanding the job market, what type of jobs you can do, and finally coming to my own story about chancing upon an opportunity to get an interview in this spot, right? The Innovation Center. That opens up like a non-traditional role opportunities that you can take, because you might be thinking, okay, based on my skill set, I'm just going to Google these types of jobs and just apply to those types of jobs and see if I can get one. You would assume that that's the best chance you have at getting a job is to focus on your core skill set. But if you think about the other skill sets that you have, then if you look at the job market and then if you see what other people are doing, you'll see like many people are diverged, I guess, have flown beyond their core skill set and have actually gained new skill sets and are in the new industry sectors. And that kind of opened my mind to these types of roles in the Innovation Center, where I'm not only like an engineer, like a core engineer, but I also get to work on other types of stuff, like including presenting in front of executives, in front of like large groups, and meeting new people that come to the Innovation Center and actually sharing some of the technology we have at the showcase. So it's a very outward-facing role, which I love doing as well. Like it's an interesting thing for me to be able to meet new people. When they share their ideas, it's very exciting. So that's the best part of the job. And also, one thing, if I could leave you with, is be comfortable with networking, be comfortable with reaching out, sending those cold emails, right? Cold LinkedIn messages. It's fine. Don't have to expect anything in return. But the reward is in the fact that you try. You're putting yourself out there, and that's very important. And not only that, you're actually learning. Every time you look at any LinkedIn profile, you see what that person did in the past and what they're doing today. That's a learning opportunity. That could be you going forward, right? So yeah, keep hope, and then it's possible. There's plenty of opportunities, amazing things out there, and I'm sure many of you are capable of accomplishing those. So with that, I will do a quick demonstration of Verizon's technology in the smart cities, smart communities, and coming from the Motor City, you might be familiar with automotive verticals as well, right? The automotive industry. So how 5G applies to that. So I'll be able to speak to a little bit of it. So I'm sure you already started seeing like cars behind me. And there's like a parking lot, and you see like boxes around these cars, and you might be wondering what it is. So this is part of something called a smart community solution that Verizon offers. So if you're looking at a camera, I'm sure many of you have seen like security cameras installed. Either could it be at the the building in a mall, or at a traffic light, right? They have the cameras installed to spot people either speeding, so on and so forth. But what Verizon looks to achieve with the smart communities goal is that a lot of times we sell these solutions to municipalities, cities, local governments, primarily because we support the initiative to achieve something called the Net Zero Initiative, which is to avoid any civilian casualties on streets, right? That's the project. Make sure that there's no civilian casualties or pedestrian casualties when you're on the streets. Now, many times when you're building city infrastructure, right, you're optimizing for a lot of different things. And however, we might not be able to collect real-time information. Like what this intersection here, what's happening here, let me expand on this one. This is actually an intersection in Prague, but it's not in the US. But nonetheless, I think that the message here is still true, is that the cameras are being connected on a mobile network. And behind the scenes, there's something called a computer vision algorithm that's running. So computer vision is just a family of another artificial intelligence, called AI. So it's just a bunch of algorithms that's tracking cars, that's tracking people as they're moving, and the direction in which they're moving. So now what this gives you is that once you know a car is moving and the direction it's moving, you can know exactly whether it's in a collision path with somebody else, right? What you want to avoid or reduce is the number of times that a pedestrian crosses in front of a car and they got too close, right? So those are what you call like a near hit, in the sense that in an accident, a lot of times when there are accidents, there's always a pattern. That is, out of 10, right, 9 out of 10 times that accident could have happened, but multiple factors stopped it. It was just like the chance of luck prevented that accident from happening, fortunately. But in that one unfortunate case scenario, that accident happens because it could be either multiple factors, right? The angle in which the street exists where they don't see the person coming, right? In this case, what's happening here, what they identified from this example is that the bus stop was right at the intersection. So the cars behind this bus wouldn't see like a pedestrian crossing from the other side. Now, what that creates is like a blind spot where the cars assume that there's nobody there. However, there might be people in front of the bus looking to cross. Now, that in itself is like, we get the data points showing that, okay, in this just 1 week, we had like 80 incidents or so of somebody potentially, having a car run into a person because there was this blind spot. So you get to identify these patterns, then you can use that information to change the city infrastructure that you have and make it more safer, more inclusive, right? And when you think about now people with physical disabilities or visual disabilities, all of those things need to be taken into account. So we need to make the city spaces actually safer for people like that as well to be able to be mobile. So that is one of the solutions tied to Verizon's smart community, smart city solution. This one here, this is actually here in the US in Milpitas. It's in California. It's a town in California. It's about 40 miles south of San Francisco. Many of us have gone to malls, probably during Black Friday or any other big event, and found all spots taken. But there's always that one spot somewhere hidden away, right? Somebody pulled out, and you see those cars leaving, and you're wondering where those spots are. Now, so where you know more, that's where this solution comes in. So this is part of the Verizon Smart Intelligent Lighting product. So the security cameras themselves, like in the lighting, in the lights that you have in the malls, you can install cameras that are monitoring these parking spots in real time. So if you're a business owner, you can partner with Verizon, subscribe to the solution, and provide to your customers in real time notifications telling them how many parking spots are left and where are they open, right? So as a customer, you're able to just log into an app and actually see what is the closest parking spot to the shop that you're trying to go to, right? So the information is power. So you get that information and you can safely get to that spot and then park and then be on the way. Now you might be wondering, where does like 5G play into this? Like, all we're talking about is all these cool technologies. So how does 5G create an impact here? Now, one thing I like to say 2 factors, right? The ultra wideband capacity, ultra high throughput, which I mentioned, the download speeds of up to 4 gigabits per second, and then the ultra low latencies. Now, these 2 things are so fundamentally critical to everything that exists in terms of like a software application or anything. Because one thing is that how many cameras can we install, right? And what is the quality of the video can we export? If you look at a poor grainy like CCTV image, you might not be able to see much, right? It can just indicate a few things, but it might not be able to help us build some of the advanced applications that we see here. So going forward, if we are to build more advanced features, we would need that high bandwidth capacity so that we can actually stream this high quality video, like 4K, 8K, right? We're even talking about 360 video streaming. That is, you would stream the video of the entire space. So when you actually see the video, you can look at it from all angles and you see the whole detail as it's happening live. So that's one of the potential possibilities of 5G is that we're able to stream all this kinds of video over the network. The second thing being ultra low latency. So in this case scenario, we want to be able to make sure that we get insights and information delivered in the right time, right? Say if there was an imminent collision going to happen, you want the notification sent immediately, right? Rather than wait a long time or even have any kind of delay and latency in the way we sort that information, which causes that needle in the haystack effect, where like you lose the needle that you wanted in that big haystack of information where most of the time nothing is happening, but in that particular moment where you needed that, you missed it. So that's the ultra low latency capacity that's going to help and come to our assistance here. So with 5G, we can connect more cameras, and with the integration of the mobile edge compute for ultra low latency, which is a bunch of computers that are integrated within the mobile network, we'll be able to respond faster to them. And here, finally, this is the intelligent video application. So this is a solution that can sit on top of any kind of a video management solution that exists currently. So you can think of, if you go to a mall, but they have like the cameras, and I'm sure you would have seen it in movies, right? In the security room, they have like 50 cameras. They're trying to monitor, one person is trying to monitor a lot of them. And usually the characters, right, either the good character or the bad character, right? They try to hide behind the camera, and when the security guard is looking at one of the camera feeds, they try to hide behind and go the other one. So that's because there's that such significant amount of volume that so many cameras are being monitored, it's impossible for a person to look at all these events. And in hundreds of hours of video, it's really fatiguing. That's where intelligent video comes in, is that it's an automated solution that Verizon has developed that can crunch through hundreds of hours of video and actually generate analytical insights from that and create those areas of interest. So that is, this is loading right now. This is on Wi-Fi, so it's not quite on 5G right now. But as you can see, picked up instances where people were shopping, with going to the counter and asking for things. So it just reduces the amount of data that the official has to go through. Now, you might be wondering about why this is all tied to automotive, or the cities are talking about it. So if you're going to have connected cars going forward in the future, more and more cars are going to come online, and more cameras are going to come online, and that's where 5G comes into the play. And to put all together, I know I brought up a lot of these concepts. My colleague Jordan, who is also a technologist here at the Innovation Center, will be going through his career story and also explaining this in more detail. So thank you, and on to you, Jordan.
Thanks, Frankie. How you guys doing? I'll try to be somewhat quick in case you guys have a hard stop here. So my name is Jordan Austin. I'm a technology consultant here at the Innovation Center in San Francisco, working with Venki, Dan, amongst others here on the engineering team. So my role is to work with internal engineers as well as various external teams to put together these product demos that we have here on our showcase floor to be demonstrated for customers, as well as just to make sure the center is running in general. So that can range from anything from helping Venki set up a next generation computer application and deploy it on mech, to changing batteries inside of a television remote that wasn't working, to restarting a computer that we were unable to get a good demo on. So I get to be very hands-on and tinker. I really enjoy it. My background is kind of semi-untraditional to get into a role like this. Growing up, I was the first person in my family to go to college. So I didn't really have much guidance in terms of what, to study, what major to select, where to go, what trajectory I was going to take. So I went into school, studied business, hoping I'd figure it out on the way. Coming up to graduation, I'd been working at a swim school teaching swimming, and I still really hadn't narrowed it down, didn't have much insight. So I was continuing to work there for a while, found a job posting on LinkedIn for an entry-level position at a real estate firm. So I applied there, luckily was able to get an interview and eventually got hired. So I was working there trying to figure out still what I wanted to do, wasn't extremely sure, but I was enjoying it. I thought that I could see myself making a career out of that. Unfortunately, due to corporate restructuring, they eliminated a handful of positions, mine included. So I was laid off. And the day that I was laid off, I was walking downstairs to the garage, and the garage attendant, I told him the story. He actually let me know that Dan at Verizon upstairs was hiring, because it's in the same building. I used to work 2 floors up. So I reached out to Dan, had a handful of conversations and interviews with him. And here I am, got brought on 3 years ago as a facilities manager. So managing maintenance and repair of the space, working with the contractors, changing light bulbs, things like that. And it wasn't, by any means what I wanted to do as an end goal, but I saw it as a means to an end to an extent. I saw what they were doing here in terms of all the technology they had their hands on. Similar to Venki, I used to think Verizon, oh yeah, like network, cellular network, that was it, Verizon or AT&T. So seeing what they were doing here in terms of all these next generation computer applications, things with 5G, I was super interested to get in and get my hands on it. And so I went from, facilities manager, helping the janitors, clean things in the restroom, to getting my hands on the tech, helping Venki and the engineers build things. So I really, my bits of advice would be making sure no matter what role you're in, you're always chatting with people or trying to eye something that interests you within that. Because again, I started here making sure that contractors were patching holes in drywall correctly. And now I'm working, with these engineers that are building next gen applications that are, throughout the world, partnerships with the NFL, various things here and there. Yeah, really enjoying it. Let's get started with what I'm going to show you. It's going to be our DX, or digital experience vignette. We've got a number of these different vignettes tailored to different industries. The one that I'm going to be showing you today is our intelligent venue vignette. It shows you the interactions between a fan and a venue before, during, and after the game. So all 3 of these sections on the screen that you should see to my left, you see it on my right here, are going to come into play. On the left and right will be some digital signage, contextual information, and the center is going to play the role of a mobile device of a fan. And it's really going to show you the advantages and competitive advantages that one can gain when partnering with Verizon. And it's a showcase of the art of the possible and how Verizon's technology stack can drive business transformation. So, before the game even starts, we're able to deliver value-added, personalized content. In this case, fan has purchased tickets. We're able to send through a reservation to purchase parking nearest their seat. So, all through the app, we know where we are. Using, what Venki showed you in our intelligent lighting platform, parking optimization, we're able to identify open parking spaces that a fan can select. Everything can be done all through the app, purchase parking. It may ask me if there's a special event going on, a reason I'm coming to the game. In this case, let's say there is. It's my son's birthday. So let's type out a little message to him. Happy B-Day, Timmy. Where am I? Happy B-Day, Timmy. So let's let them know and see if there can be some sort of special interaction going forward with that. So let's push forward, moving on. Using Verizon's location services, we can actually direct the fan using wayfinding directly from their home to the parking space closest to their seats. And that allows us to gain insight into various other location analytics too. Let's keep pushing. While at the game, I'm a diehard fan, so is Timmy. We don't want to miss any of the action. So we can get a push through to order concessions directly on the app, never having to leave my seat. So in this case, we're both hungry. Let's go for it. And you know what? Timmy's birthday, it's special. Let's go ahead and buy him one of these special narwhal hats that we have going on here. So boom, again, I can proceed to check out all through the application. It's got my payment info stored. And this digital receipt can also act as a barcode for proof of delivery that can be scanned by concession staff when they come to check me out. Orders on the way, again, I get a push to know to make sure I'm there to receive it, scan the barcode to deliver. Now, adding another layer of interactivity into this gameplay. We may be able to push different media content through to the fan on their phones, on their mobile devices. So in this case, there was a potential pass under review that we're not sure if it was complete. We're able to send a push. The fan can then review on their mobile app here, maybe switch between camera feeds. Let's see. Looks like a completed pass to me, so I'm going to go ahead and select yes. Looks like the majority of the crowd agreed with me, as well as the refs. They went ahead and ruled that a complete pass. And as you see on the left here, that can be pushed out to digital signage throughout the venue, so anyone up from their seats are able to follow along as well. Adding another layer here, we might be able to deliver personalized content for social media applications. In this case, I can take a selfie with my favorite wide receiver, Jacob Denning. So yeah, let's go ahead and take it. I can then, through the application, post this on a media platform of my choice. Let's do Instagram. And then you see, this can add additional merchandising opportunities for the venue. Here, after the touchdown, I may be just excited enough to buy a jersey for Timmy. Let's go ahead and do this. Again, all through the application, can check out, have it delivered directly to my seat, barcode for proof of delivery. Now, if you recall earlier, I mentioned that it was my son Timmy's birthday. Hey, they're letting us know to be in your seats. We've got a surprise for him. While we were in our seats, they got a video of us up on the Jumbotron. They put his name up there. I was over here trying to take a photo with my cell phone, but distance kind of made the quality, not so great. Well, actually, they've got the whole thing on video. They were able to record and send it straight to me. I'm able to post this again through various social media platforms, all directly through the app. And then, before I leave, when I'm more likely to buy another ticket, we just had a great time. We can push notifications through, prompting a fan to see if they'd like to purchase tickets for the next game. And then all throughout that, you gain access to these various analytics and insights that venues can find extremely useful, whether it be fan demographics, where these people are coming from, what they're utilizing the app for. Is it for in-app purchases? Are they streaming media that we push through? And various things that can really help drive business transformation. And then at the base of all this is our technology architecture and our tech stack, including, the network and internet, the location services, whether it be the parking optimization that Venki had showed earlier. And so this was kind of an art of the possible, showcasing what venues can leverage through Verizon's entire technology stack and the products we could build out. So that being said, that was all I had. Are there any questions for any of us here?
I can ask one of the questions that was put in the chat window. Jordan, what's the biggest struggle in your profession and how do you overcome it?
The biggest struggle in my profession. Ooh, you know, I'd say, well, it's difficult sometimes, you know, with such hardworking and intelligent people on my team, with everyone, you know, striving to do their best and get their hands on a new product or a new demo. So I'd say sometimes it's a little tough trying to compete, you know, in the workforce. And overcoming that, I'd say I just do my best to, you know, go above and beyond in any way I can, you know, whether it be being the first one in the door in the morning, or, you know, asking the most questions in a meeting about a new product or new demo that we've got coming along. I want to make sure that I'm expressing as much interest as I can in what we've got going on, and doing my best, you know, to get my foot in the door and, you know, get my hands on something to tinker with. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I put it in the chat window, but part of the toughness for me was managing all the meetings. I guess I would go to, like, because in this job, I mean, I guess getting to meet people is one of the perks, right? So, but that also comes the ability to being able to document all the stuff that you were doing and all the stuff that you were learning in these meetings, keeping track of those things. You know, it was like in addition to like a skill set, right? Like the program management / project management aspect of things. Like as an engineer, you're able to pretty much organize your information in a single computer on the stuff that you're doing. However, like when you're going to meetings, when you're taking notes, it's a little bit of a different skill set to being mapping what the learnings from that meetings were and how it applies to the to-do tasks that come from it. So I would say organization is pretty important. I'm sure from school to work, like it stays consistent. Being able to organize efficiently is, I would say, one of the hardest things that for me, and something that I work on day to day. What about you, Dan? On to you.
Here's sort of an interesting one: is feeling like I deserve to be here. You know, and one of the things that, you know, strikes me in this job is I mentioned earlier, is being around experts in their field and constantly having to improve myself. You know, there's a bit of an imposter syndrome coming from more of a working class family, not having the background, not having the education as some of my peers. But I think just hard work, perseverance, and positive self-talk, I think gets you through a lot.
Cool. So we talked about the hardest part. I guess I'll ask the question also. Is Jordan to you? What part of the job that you love the most? I'm sure there can be probably two things. Okay, not just one thing. So two of the things that you love the most about the job.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, you know, number one, what I love the most about the job is, again, getting to see kind of a lot of different tech and products on the cutting edge and stuff before they are, you know, even public knowledge. You know, so again, when I first got hired on here, I thought Verizon just, you know, sold cell phones and, you know, ran the network. That was it. And then coming in and seeing all these things that the company's doing with, you know, 5G and machine learning and, you know, autonomous vehicles, it was just extremely interesting. And I love that every day I get the opportunity to, you know, work on some of these products or chat with folks on different teams that are involved in things that I might not even know about. And then second favorite part of my job, I'd say, is just, you know, interactions with my colleagues. Everyone that I work with is great and extremely supportive. You know, and again, starting as a facilities manager, changing light bulbs and patching holes in drywall, coming into trying to figure out as much of this tech as I can, you know, have been extremely supportive and helping me kind of develop. And, you know, I'm trying to head towards a goal as, you know, a product manager where I'm owning some of these products, working kind of in the middle of the engineers and, you know, external stakeholders. And so, you know, everybody I've worked with, you know, on the greater team as well, not just folks on this call currently, have been extremely supportive and, you know, give me a lot of great insight and information. So.
Great answer, Jordan. But there's also another great question that Francisco has asked in the chat is, do you have a specific moment of success in your profession that made you think, this is what I want to do? Or it could be like the role that you're evolving into. It could be anything. So like expand to that one. What excites you the most so that you want to be able to say, okay, this is what I want to do?
Well, I'd say, you know, a project I worked on a handful of months ago with Amazon Web Services, AWS, as well as the local opera house in San Francisco. So my boss, Dan Fetterby, who introed us here at the Innovation Center, actually called me one day and let us know, hey, you know, one of our engineers, he's unavailable to come and help out with this demo that we've got going on at the opera house. Can you be on site and just see what kind of help they need? And so I went over there fully not knowing what to expect. And I was the sole Verizon participant there on site, kind of helping manage this entire project in conjunction with AWS and the San Francisco Opera House, where in San Francisco at the Opera House, we had a pianist playing the piano, and in Vegas at the Venetian, they had an opera singer. So over 600 miles away, these two performing artists were, and we were able to bring them together live over 5G to an almost seamless audio transmission that was demoed and played for various members of the media. So, you know, after being there and kind of owning that project with, you know, in my experience, what was very little experience doing anything like this before, it was extremely rewarding to be able to put my name on that. And from there, I kind of saw, you know, an opportunity to do that continuously and, you know, help develop some of these products from, you know, inception through creating it to eventually commercialization. So it was great being able to kind of see things come to fruition and how it all, you know, came together at the end to make something beautiful. So.
Great answer. That was a great project, actually, that was also demoed at AWS Vignette, which is one of the premier technological conferences that happens every year. In fact, it's happened in Las Vegas. So about, I think, 10,000 attendees, even during the pandemic, I guess, right? So very big conference. Passing that question on to you, Dan, as well. Do you have a specific moment of success in your profession that made you think this is what I want to do?
You know, for me, I think it's constantly evolving. You know, one of the things that really drew me to this role in the first place, and what's kept me here for 6 years, is that every single day is different. Just to give you a little bit of a peek into my world, I have ADD, and it's really hard for me to focus on a single thing for too long. And oftentimes in this role, it actually matches pretty well. You know, I get to work on projects from, you know, AR, VR gaming applications to, you know, I just got out of a meeting with an autonomous vehicle company. So I think that for me, it's not so much any single moment or event. I think it's more that, you know, just being on this ride, you know, it feels like, you know, this is a very unique place and time where technology is moving in a fast pace. And one of the nice things about jumping in at this point is everything that we're working on is new, and there's not a lot of people out there that have a head start on it. So we're all kind of all on a level playing field here.
And this is Nia Mathis. If I could interject here, I've been listening, and I know a lot of the questions are more to our engineer background, but I just want to be able to share from a legal background for those who might be interested in pursuing a career in law. I've been having a nice chat here with one of our students who is interested in law. So there could be some others who might be thinking about that. And so just as a sort of a quick background on that, you know, again, I mentioned in my intro, I did not grow up with lawyers in my family, so I didn't know a lot about law except from what I saw on television or except what we see now in the headlines with, you know, all of the much needed and much respected civil rights lawyers who are doing, you know, great work in our communities and for all people. But there are other kinds of law that are out there, and you know, at Verizon, I've had the pleasure and fortune of practicing probably 8 or 9 different kinds of law for one company. And there are areas of the law that we don't think about that businesses need lawyers to help in. For instance, Verizon is one of the largest advertisers in the country. We're top 3 spend on advertising. When you look at TV, you see our commercials. Well, there are a lot of lawyers that are involved in advertising law. That's the claims we can make, you know, making sure that we have truth in advertising, that we're describing our products and services in a way that makes sense to customers and to consumers, that our fine print at the bottom of the screen, that it discloses material terms and conditions. So advertising law is like a huge area of law that people don't necessarily think of. Similar with our products and services, when you purchase a phone, and the service from Verizon. That's a product, it's a service that we offer. And there are lots of terms and conditions that get wrapped around those, that lawyers are the ones that draft that and create that and make sure that we're protecting the company while providing the service that people need. But when you download an app and you select, accept all the terms and conditions, there's a lot of lawyering that goes around, weaving those protections for the company into those products and services. There's law for real estate. Verizon owns towers and stores and office buildings, and you need lawyers to negotiate those licenses or access rights, for all those different parts of the business. And I could go on and on, but there's so many areas that people don't necessarily think of when you think about a career in law. There are probably 30 different practice areas that someone could practice as a lawyer in a large company like Verizon, and that's just domestic. And we have international operations, which would be international laws around privacy, data, all sorts of areas. So I just wanted to put that out there. The general path is, you go to college, you go to 3 years of law school, you go to a law firm, because a law firm is really where you apprentice with, as a junior associate, you apprentice with partners who have lots of experience. They teach you the basics of being a lawyer. And then with that experience, you can go in-house and work for a company like Verizon. We usually look for folks with 7 to 10 years of law firm experience. And then again, there's just multiple areas of law that you could practice even within a company. And I've had the fortune of doing 5 or 6 areas of practice. And so anyway, just a plug for those of you who are thinking about law school, lawyering. There's some other opportunities there you might not have thought of.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that tour and presentation. I think we all enjoyed. I also want to thank Brianna, who actually pulled us and pulled this together. So I don't know if you're still on the line, but or on the, oh, looks like you are. I just wanted to make sure that I say thank you to Brianna, and of course, Nia and your whole team. A wonderful job. And Francisco, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to say that was really interesting. I think everyone really enjoyed that, and it's very nice to see those kind of things as like technology moves forward and becomes a big part of society. How we're making those advances and how we're able to benefit each other. And we just appreciate you guys for kind of informing us on all these great things. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we move on with the agenda? Of course. So as we move forward, I'll start with myself just to make sure. Hey guys, can you guys see me? If we can move forward, if you guys are comfortable, of course, turn on your video, and then we can go to the next part of the agenda, which is
I think you went out again.
we're done.
All right. We
Okay. God dang it. God dang it. Can you guys hear me? Dang it. Oh my gosh.
yes, we can hear you fine now.
Okay, you can hear me fine now.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Okay. We move on to the next part of the agenda, which is old business, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So last meeting, we've had a couple meetings prior to this meeting, working upon the resolution. And is there anybody who would like to share anything, say anything about the old business?
Okay, I think they're going to display the resolution.
Okay.
All right, and if you want to read through it, and then you guys can vote on it.
Right. Gladly. So here's the resolution. I know most of you guys have read it, but just to go through it again. Whereas gun violence is a violent act committed with the use of firearms, for example, pistols, shotguns, assault rifles, and machine guns. And whereas guns are the leading cause of death among American children and teens. And whereas in the United States, there have been 1,316 school shootings since 1970, and these numbers are increasing. And whereas more than 292,000 students have experienced gun violence at school since the Columbine High School shooting in 1999. And whereas gun violence can disrupt the functioning of schools and make every student's journey to and from school dangerous. And whereas the lack of state resources for gun violence prevention and mental health treatment, along with the difficulty of recruiting and retaining teaching staff in neighborhoods worked by gun violence, have a negative impact on the educational experience of students who could undermine the right to education in these communities. And whereas perpetrators of gun violence and school shootings often suffer from some form of mental illness, and whereas in 4 out of 5 school shootings, at least one other person had knowledge of the attacker's plan but failed to report it. And whereas in almost every documented case of active shooters, warning signs were shown. And whereas the United States Department of Homeland Security research shows that if people know the signs of gun violence, then they can take steps to prevent it and reverse the trend. And whereas some schools have initiated the use of safe boxes or anonymous forums for students to openly report concerns or simply express grievances that can minimize or prevent incidents of school-related gun violence. And whereas the guns used in about 68% of gun-related incidents at schools were taken from the home, a friend, or a relative, and whereas 39% of parents wrongly believe that children don't know where the gun is stored, and whereas an estimated 4.6 million American children live in a home where at least one gun is kept loaded and unlocked, and whereas gun violence is a problem that is beginning to increasingly impact the youth of Wayne County with the onset of the Oxford High School shooting. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council on this 24th day of March 2022 recognizes that students, parents, and faculty within educational communities are not receiving sufficient education, resources, and support from schools for gun violence prevention and its intersectionality with mental health issues. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that gun safety education be provided in schools through a day devoted exclusively to raising awareness among students and faculty about the risks and regulations associated with
Okay, Francisco, you went out again. Can you hear me?
I can finish reading wherever he left off at.
educate them about the dangers associated.
Oh, he's back in now. Okay, we couldn't hear you.
For the whole thing?
No, just start at the second resolve.
Okay, I'm sorry. Resolve that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that gun safety education be provided in schools through a day devoted exclusively to raising awareness among students and faculty about the risks and regulations associated with guns, recognizing and reporting signs of concerning behavior and other related topics using seminars, videos, and interactive discussions. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that schools send information about gun safety and secure storage, as well as mental health resources to parents and families in order to educate them about the dangers associated with guns and children and how to potentially prevent those dangers from occurring. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council recognizes that gun violence committed by children is usually the result of the child having access to a gun owned by a parent. Therefore, the Youth Council strongly urges the Michigan legislature to enact legislation to ensure the safety of children and to reduce opportunities for access to guns by 1, requiring the proper storage of guns, 2, mandating the purchase of a gun lock when a gun is purchased, and 3, establishing penalties for the improper storage of a gun that would allow charges to be filed against the parent. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council requests that schools establish an online anonymous safe box for students to report any information or concerns that they have through a non-confrontational medium. And be it further resolved that the Wayne County Commission Youth Council recognizes that mental illness is often an underlying trigger behind gun violence and requests that there is at least one mental health professional available in every school for students to approach as a trusted adult, as well as an advisory period built into the school schedule as time for students to seek mental health resources, connect with their peers and teachers, or simply relax, and be it further. Resolved that copies of the resolution is forwarded to the Wayne County Commission, all members of the Wayne County delegation, and the Michigan legislator, the director of the Michigan State Board of Education, and every school board within Wayne County. And then there is 3 works cited pages that are included. This is where the statistics and information came from in the whereas portion.
Great. Great job, guys, I think. So do you want to, any discussion, or you want to take a vote on it? What is?
Commissioner Baker McCormick, we had a meeting prior to this week ago where we had most people, I think everyone can.
Oh, you went out again. Can't hear you.
He's not cutting out.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
I'm so sorry. That's
okay.
Horrible.
That's technology.
I'm so sorry. But we had that.
We had a meeting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'd also like to include the fact that we voted and came to a consensus that Kirthana and Kavaya would be presenting this. So it included in the motion that should be also understood to anybody who did not know that information.
Okay, so what you submitted was the draft, and then our council went over it and vetted it, and so now we're going to vote on this final draft, or actually this resolution. So you can call for a motion. Mm-hmm.
All those in favor?
You need a motion?
Oh.
Yeah. Anyone want to make a motion to approve this resolution as read?
Motion to approve the resolution as read.
Supported.
Okay, great. All right, it's been moved and supported. Francisco, you can call for a vote, or in this case, we could do a roll call vote to make sure we have
everyone
enough members here.
Okay, I think we should do the roll call vote.
Okay.
Do you think it's possible we can go back to the roll call?
All right. Okay, you can call the names off, and we said we weren't gonna call off.
Don't include Paris Baldwin or Naima Crenshaw.
Okay.
And Riley Rudolph.
Matter of fact, Nairobi, if you could just call the names and then they can say yay or nay.
Okay. So Jenna Akawi.
I got it.
I believe she left early. She was here earlier. The next person is Thomas.
Yay.
Kirthana, she's not present. Ariana. I know she emailed me and said her microphone went out. She lost connection, so she was here previously. Shakari.
She wasn't here earlier.
She joined. It says she's Shakari Fleming Brown.
Oh, sorry, I'm here.
Okay. I didn't see her. Okay.
Yes. Francisco's here. Kavia.
They have to vote when, so Shakaria, did she vote up or down? Or what is she?
Vote for the resolution.
Right, that's what they're doing right now. You're just
Oh,
calling
sorry,
their name.
Oh, I say yay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Can you just say yes or no for the approval of the resolution? We're voting.
Yes.
Okay.
Hannah.
Sorry, I'm on my phone trying to get this to connect. I do vote yes.
Manib.
It's Manib.
Manib.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
I'm here, and I vote yes.
Okay. Zion.
I vote yes.
Madison.
I vote yes.
Dear.
I vote yes.
McKenna is not present, and Jaden Walton, is he in here? I believe that's everyone that we have on the attendance for today that I called.
Francisco. And Kavia.
I vote yes.
Francisco.
Yes.
All right. I believe we have all yeses in total of all the members present for today's meeting on the resolution.
Okay. And then you can ask for anyone opposed, just in case we somehow miss someone.
Is there anyone opposed to our resolution for 2022 on gun violence?
And Francisco, you're muted again. Okay.
Is there any?
Go ahead.
So I don't have to say that. Is there anyone opposed? She just right. We're good.
Right. That's okay. And then if no one is in opposition, then you can say the motion passed.
The motion is passed.
All right. Okay.
And then that moves us to the next part.
Yes.
This is point number D2, upcoming events discussion. And I believe that's that we're going to speak about the actual presentation itself, and it's March, April, and I believe the Tigers game, someone said. I can't remember if that's in April or May.
That's in April, but right. We don't have a date confirmed yet. I thought I would have it by now. So we will let you know as soon as that date is confirmed. Within the next, possibly by next week, we should know. Okay.
And I know for a fact that the MLB has been protesting. I know that's
yes.
kind of going to play a very big part.
Yes.
So that's information. And is there something else I'm missing, Nairobi, or?
I also wanted to add a few updates about upcoming events we have going on, just so everyone is aware and that you guys are marking your calendars for these events. I know we sent out the tentative schedule, but sometimes things change and we just want to keep you updated. So just so that you guys all have in your calendar to give your permission slip and your excuse of attendance for this day if you have school. But April 12th, that is our upcoming tour and presentation for the resolution at the Commission's chambers. That is April 12th at 10 a.m. So I believe that is, let me see which day.
I have a question.
Yes.
For our excusal of attendance, I don't think that's a word, but Do I have my parent go to my office, or can I do it?
Whichever is best for you. If you feel like your parent bringing in the permission slip to let them know you won't be in attendance would be best, that's fine. If you could give it to them and they will still accept it the same way, that's fine as well. Whatever's best for you and how your school operates.
Okay, and do I need the teacher to sign anything?
It would be best that the teachers are all aware that you're not going to be there. So I don't know necessarily if you need them to sign anything, just that they see the permission slip, see that there's an event that you're going to this day that you're being excused for, and that all the teachers that you have classes for that day, that they are aware. So as long as all your teachers are aware, they've read this permission slip, they know that you've given it to a higher up person, then you should be fine. I don't think they have to sign anything necessarily.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
But this field trip, this is the 12th. So this is Tuesday. So it's a Tuesday, which is a weekday. So make sure that you guys, before this date, because it's March 24th and the 12th will be here before y'all know it in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So make sure that you guys are communicating with your school so that they know on this date early on right now, like you should do this as soon as possible, tomorrow even, and let them know that on April 12th at 10 a.m. you will not be present at school because you will be presenting your resolution and you will be touring the commissioner's chambers for everyone who submitted the permission slip. So I just want to make sure you guys are getting that out the way. Do not wait till the day before to let your teachers know that you're not going to be there, because it's not going to look good, and their approval is not going to be high if you're just letting them know the day before. And make sure that if you have a test that day, if you have a quiz, that if you're communicating with them so that it's either done before the day before, or that you can do it when you come back and make it up. So make sure that's being done as soon as possible. Do not forget to do that. So that's April 12th, Tuesday at 10 a.m. And then after that, I want to update you. There were some changes on our cleanup that we're having on April 30th. So it's going to be April 30th at 9 a.m. And the cleanup will begin at 10 a.m. And this is on your tentative schedule. Also, I will be emailing it out again to you guys within a day, probably in like a day tomorrow. So you guys will receive another email with the schedule, but your cleanup is April 30th. That is at 9 a.m. You will be wearing your YCCYC shirts. And this is at George Matrix Chevrolet on Telegraph Road in Redford Charter Township, Michigan. So that will be going on soon as well.
Nairobi, we may change the location. So,
Okay.
Yep, the location may change, but the date is April 30th. Okay.
Okay. So the date is solid, you guys. So at least put this in your calendar, April 30th at 9 a.m. so that you know that that day is when we will have that event. Also, we will have a parent meeting soon. We will be sending an email out to you guys, parents, but this parent meeting, we have it down for April 5th. If anything changes, we'll let you know. But right now we have April 5th at 6:30 p.m. So if you could just give your parents a heads up that this meeting is coming up soon, just so we can discuss the ending of the year events and then you guys completion ceremony and things like that. And so that they are aware of that you guys are going to be presenting the resolution and that you won't be to school that day and that you have transportation for all of these things. So make sure that you just, put the bug in their ear as soon as you can, that we're going to have a parent meeting in the next week or so. April 5th is the date we have, and that it will be via Zoom at 6:30 p.m. So that'll be great.
Hey, Nairobi, I have a quick question. I'm so sorry.
I actually was about to ask you a question because you brought up to me about the bowling thing. I was trying to see if we could get that event for you guys before the program ends in June. You said it's like a $10 entrance.
Yeah, it's like I can get the information from my teacher. That I don't know all the exact details. But I will definitely get the information to you and email it to you as soon as possible. I should be seeing her tomorrow. But quick question, how long do you think the meeting will be at the chambers? Because that day I have a robotics meeting and I have to be there because it's before a competition.
The commission meetings usually last no longer than an hour and a half to 2 hours at the most. So from 10 to 12, I would say. But you can leave at any time. We were going to have lunch and then a tour of the Guardian building. So if you have to leave, that's not a problem.
Oh, no, that's not a problem at
Okay.
all. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, Hannah, just make sure you email me that information as soon as you can to the Wayne Youth email.
Yes, I will immediately.
That's all I have for you guys about the upcoming events that we have coming up.
Zion asked a question. When we do this tour and presentation, is it professionally dressed, or are we wearing
Yes,
still professionally dressed?
very
Yeah.
professionally dressed.
Yes, because you will, and we're putting together the press conference. So you want to look presentable to the press and to the commissioners as well, because you'll be presenting to them. Okay. And we covered the permission slips. So I think, Francisco, we're at the end of towards the end of the agenda now.
Okay. That moves us to point E, new business. I believe that that's already been passed since the Verizon virtual tour has been passed.
That's right.
So I'll move to point E, part 2. Any announcements by members? But that's still part of the tour, is it not?
Nope, this is announcements. You're right.
Is there any announcements by members? Does anyone have any announcements? Okay, and we can move to the next point F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee. If anyone has any other matters they would like to submit before the committee, you may do so now. And that moves us to point G, public comment. If anyone has a public comment or questions, you may email these to.
Actually, they can provide any public comments right now. So you're just asking if anyone has any comment.
Does anyone have any public comments? You may do so.
I have a comment. So this is Felicia Johnson. I am the attorney for the County Commission. I look forward to meeting you all at the meeting on the 12th, if you're able to attend. My office reviewed your resolution, and I just wanted to take a moment to commend you all. I think you did a wonderful job with the resolution. It appeared that you put a lot of hard work into it, looking up all the statistics. So I just wanted to, on behalf of my office, Miss Ebony Adams is the attorney that reviewed it. She's on the line. I just wanted to let you all know that you did a great job with that, and just to congratulate you on it. Thank you.
So much. I think we all very much appreciate those kind words, and we cannot wait to meet you as well.
And you know what? And I want to thank Felicia and her team, because they went through the resolution and updated it, made changes where it was needed. So thank you and the commission staff, because they work after hours in helping us with these meetings. And so we want to thank them as well. Definitely. But good job, guys. You did an excellent job. And I had nothing to do with it. So you guys did a great job.
And just for the record, we did not receive any emails for public comment, and everyone has been asked to unmute if there are any more public comments.
Okay. We can move to the last item, Francisco.
It was this point H, adjournment. If anyone would like to make it a motion to adjournment, you may do so now.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Say if anyone seconds that motion.
I second that motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, so all those in favor of adjournment say aye.
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 All those opposed? It has been heard and passed that the minutes of this meeting may be adjourned.
Thank you. Great job, Francisco.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Mhm.
Have a great day, guys.